Nancy here, gratefully recovering food addict. And today I had a request from Amanda R. asking if maybe I could show some food prep or weigh and measuring. She's new to Overeaters Anonymous and she's following the HOW plan. Overeaters Anonymous doesn't recommend a certain diet plan. They want you to consult with a nutritionist to figure out what's best for you. And but the HOW plan, they have a meal plan that's very similar to the K. Shepherd plan that I follow, weighed and measured. And I'm not going to go into much recipes because we're all different. We all have different food plans. I recommend Absolutely Abstinent Recipes for Recovery by K. Shepherd. It's an expensive book. You can get it online on her website, kshepherd.org or com. I can't remember which. And it's $40, but it's really good. There are a lot of good information in the beginning, and she's got some really delicious recipes. A chili recipe that's really good, and all the recipes are single serve, so it's exactly the proportions for dinner or breakfast. And there's a good mushroom soup recipe. I like the chicken sausage recipe. And pumpkin waffles, really good, and so yeah, delicious recipes in that. I went to cooking school, but my specialty, of course, was pastries and baking. So I am not a gourmet cook by any means with savory foods. But in recovery, it's always best to keep it simple. We can just really get going and have to have all these elaborate recipes and try to copy our favorite foods from our binge foods, and that doesn't really work, especially in the beginning. If you have a favorite dish, don't try to copy it because it won't be the same, and you'll say, oh geez, I have to eat this cardboard for the rest of my life. No, keep it simple, and the longer you're abstinent away from your addictive foods, especially sugar, your taste buds start to come back, and real delicious vegetables. Vegetables are the most delicious foods around. They have all different flavors and spiciness, and well, anyway, so I'll get into it. I don't really know how to set this up. I'm here in my kitchen. I baked a winter squash. I showed how I quartered it, took the seeds out, put it cut side down on nonstick foil. I like to use that stuff, and put it in my toaster oven for about 45 minutes at 375, and it comes out nice and tender. And then I just scoop it right out of the skin, and I will scoop it out and put it into these 1 cup measurers, so that I have it all measured out. I don't have to handle it twice. I handle it once. I put it in the container and it's good to go. I like to batch cook. I'll cook my grains. I'll show you, here it is. I keep my grains in containers, and on the top I have what it is. It's buckwheat, and I write the cooking instructions so I don't have to look up these instructions each time. Well, eventually you catch on, but the different grains, I eat about seven different grains on my food plan. Whole grains, cooked from scratch. Like the buckwheat is 1 cup buckwheat to 2 cups water, and it cooks for 10 minutes. It's a really quick and easy one. So that's all ready to go. And I usually cook 2 cups dry at a time, makes a big batch. I have it for breakfast. I make a hot breakfast in the morning, with the cooked. So that in the morning I just grab the cooked, put the, dairy or dairy substitute, fruit, and usually protein on the side, and heat that all up and have a hot breakfast every morning, and it's really quick. Fast food, if I have it all measured out and ready in the refrigerator, it's healthy fast food. So I don't think I need to scoop, show you how to fill that. So that's that. And I make salads 4 days at a time. And this is a 2-cup measure. I have 2 cups of vegetables, raw vegetables at lunch. And I don't know about you, but the lettuce doesn't carry me over till supper time. So what I usually have is cucumbers or mushrooms, celery, carrots, and then I fill the rest of the container with cabbage. And it makes it really nice and colorful. The more color, the better. It makes it, it just makes it beautiful. And since if I have an appointment in the morning, well, I don't work, but if I have an appointment in the morning or anything, I always bring my lunch with me, just in case. I don't leave it to chance. I eat lunch out most days. So I have these really handy Pyrex. They're 6-cup Pyrex or Anchor Hawking Anchor dishes with the covers. And I have a larger type lunch bag, insulated lunch bag that this will fit right into. And I'll just throw this together. What I do is I couldn't find clean sauerkraut. And I read that the probiotics or whatever, the biotics are really good for my digestion in my belly. So I'll just put the sauerkraut to fill the 2-cup container, because I do weigh and measure. And also sometimes I will have lettuce or spinach, and I'll jam that in. You can fit quite a bit of spinach, jamming it in. And to make the 2 cups, and then I just dump it into the container. And then I have peas already weighed out, and I get frozen peas from BJ's, like the 3-pound bag, whatever it is. And I open the bag and I measure out, these are cup servings. That's my serving for starch. This is a starchy vegetable, the peas, my starch component for my lunch. And I keep them in the freezer, and then I have a couple defrosting in the fridge at all times so that they're ready to go. And I just dump that on. And I usually put my lunch together while my breakfast is cooking. So I have all this prepared ahead of time. So in the morning it's like boop, 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 throw it in, and good to go. Okay, and then you can use salad dressing. The only commercial salad dressing that is on my food plan is Newman's oil and vinegar. But make sure you check the labels, the ingredients, because some of them have cheese and stuff in them. But one is pretty good. But still, I feel like I'm a little sensitive to it, so I don't use it. And you can make a dressing ahead of time and have it in the fridge and shake it up so that But what I do is I have the cider vinegar with the mother for some more good, healthy nutrition. Oh, and I have these little liquor spouts that have a little cover, so I just sprinkle it on, and good to go. Keep it on the counter like that. I also keep on the counter my little measuring spoon. I have, I'm allotted 1 tablespoon of oil a day, fat a day, and I like to split that up, half a tablespoon at lunch and half a tablespoon at supper. And so 1 tablespoon is 3 teaspoons. So half of that would be 1.5 teaspoons at lunch and 1.5 teaspoons at dinner. But I have these half tablespoons, which are really handy. And the same thing with spout. I have avocado oil today. It's not my favorite. It doesn't really have much flavor, but I like to mix it up. Get yourself some good quality olive oil. You're worth it. And it's more expensive, but you know, it's about the price of a drive-through meal, and it lasts a long time. And you know, because we're measuring it out, and I don't cook with it. I just use it pure on my meals. So it's worth it. And I also buy organic. I figure I'll spend a little extra money on the organic, and I don't have to spend money on doctor's bills, prescriptions. Yeah, it's a big savings to take care of your health, and they do cost a little bit more, but the flavor is phenomenal. The flavor of organic is usually far superior. Apple, anything, you name it, it tastes so much better. And also, you're not spending as much money on takeout, junk food, going out to eat all the time. The more you eat at home, the better your health will be, and the more success you'll have. Okay, so measuring, I've got 2 different scales. I have one on either side. I have a kind of a small galley kitchen, but you can do anything in here. You have a little counter space, you can do anything. And I have 2 kinds of scales. Well, I have 3. So I'll talk about those for a moment. So I'm getting ready to weigh out my protein for my salad. Okay, so I have this scale, which I use most of the time because it's really simple and easy. I have it right next to my sink. And push the button and put your container on it. And then to zero it in. So now it says, well, it's not on a flat surface, so it'll say 0. You can measure your like 6 ounces of fruit I have, or 4 ounces of protein, or whatever. Now this one is really nifty. It's more expensive. It's OXO, but you can put your dinner plate on here, and then this pulls out so you can read what it says. So sometimes with the scales, your plate will cover up the reading. That doesn't help. So I've been at this for 2 months shy of 8 years. So I have lots of this equipment, but I collected over the years. It's you don't go out and spend a fortune, getting this equipment. You can collect it little as you go. I just picked up a veggie bullet. Oh, I love it. That's what I used to make the salad ingredients with. But I found it for $35 at Marshall's, and the little extra blade attachments, 20 cents. So, if you're patient, take your time, you'll find your little gadgets and gizmos that will make life easier. Now, to begin with, you'll probably have one of these scales because, they have it at Target and you can get it for a good price. And I do still use this. I'm from Maine, and if I'm having lobster with my family. I'm not in Maine now, but I was. My family's in Maine. This is good because it'll wait while you pick the lobster and put the meat in it until you get your 4 ounces or whatever. And it's usually like 1 lobster and a claw, but depending on the size of the lobster. Yeah, because I use that when it's going to be taking time, because these expire. They don't stay forever. It might be a minute or something. You have time to weigh, and so then you lose it, and then or you could pick the lobster and put it in a bowl and then weigh it later, I suppose. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Anyway, okay, so I'll weigh today I'm having some sardines, little leftover oyster, and some little leftover sardines. That's another thing, waste not, want not. In the old days, I put my dish, I put my dish on the scale and turned it on to set it to 0. Then I will waste not, want not. In the old days, I would buy all these vegetables with good intentions, and then a lot of times they would just go bad in the refrigerator because something better came along, or I just fell off my diet again, binging, or I don't feel like having vegetables, I don't feel like cooking them. Yeah, that doesn't fly anymore. I don't waste a shred of food. Well, after all, I'm getting organic and all set to go. I have my vegetable component, 2 cups, my starch, which is a cup of starchy vegetable, the peas, half a tablespoon of oil, and my protein measured on there. And I'll keep that in the fridge until I'm ready to go. I have my cooler bag by the door so I don't forget my lunch. I do occasionally do that and have to come back and get it. Also about traveling, being out, try to plan for any occasion. I have a little cooler bag in the back of my car that has a foil packet of rice, a can of tuna, a can of green beans, that would be a 2-cup serving, can opener, fork, a Corelle bowl, and some olive oil in a little packet. So that I can have, and some seasonings. I don't put seasoning on my salad. I just like the taste of the vegetables. But that comes. So that if I'm stuck, say, in a traffic jam for 3 hours and I'm 2 hours late having dinner, I don't have to be 2 hours late. I can have my dinner. Or there are always unforeseen circumstances. So that's my little insurance policy in the car. Every few months or so, I'll change it out so the stuff is fresh, or fresher, so that I don't have to scramble in a fast food or a convenience store where there really isn't anything but bottled water that is on my food plan. And it's pretty much measured out. Well, I would use half the container of rice as 1 cup of my starch serving. The can of tuna, usually I get the 5-ounce can, so that makes it's 4 ounces of tuna in there. And then the can of organic green beans, is my 2 cups of vegetables, and my oil. If I use half a pack, that's half a tablespoon. So that works out well. So frozen food, I always keep frozen organic vegetables and frozen organic berries, fruits in my freezer. And I do the same thing as I did with the peas. I'll freeze it. I'll take it out of the freezer, the whole bag. I buy the big bulk bags because it's more cost effective and organic. And I measure them out, 6 ounces I use for berries. And I keep them in the freezer, and I have a couple in the fridge. Defrosting, when I use one, I take one out of the freezer. And this is leftover turnip and those white things, rutabaga. No, whatever. Anyway, this is a dinner vegetable, 2 cups of cooked vegetables for supper. And I'll take frozen out ahead of time, and I use 2 cups, but as you can see, when it's frozen, it doesn't go all the way down, and so I just stack it up, and then by the time it's defrosted, it becomes 2 cups, and so that usually sits, it takes a day or 2 to defrost in the refrigerator. And I like these little containers. They're good in the freezer. The glass is good in the freezer, but I don't know, it seems to take up more space. I don't know, maybe. I think that's all that I wanted to say. Buy quality food for yourself. You're worth it. It tastes better, and it'll help with your success in abstinence. And God bless, and keep up the good work. Don't quit before your miracle happens. Okay, love you. Bye-bye.